The challenges, the adversities, the things we overcome, we build the resilience. And then that ultimately builds confidence. Like I know how to carry myself in the world. I'm doing it in a way that's clean, where I'm not hurting other people around me. And I can really start to create a reality I'm proud of from that place, because I'm doing everything in a way that's grounded in integrity. But as I build that up, there's very little, pieces that you can knock that further down, right? Like
Right.
if we're building that solid foundation, so much more can expand from that place. Partly it's getting real with yourself. It's generally adversity is going to be that piece. So it's going to bring you so many gifts if you're willing to welcome it. But if you get rescued or saved every time there's a problem from somebody outside yourself, that's a huge disservice, because now you're not learning what you need to learn. You're not getting true feedback. You're not actually functioning in a grounded reality. You start to become more and more delusional from that place.
How do you feel about like self-imposed kind of adversity things or major challenges? As somebody who regularly signs up to do really hard physical things, how do you take into account that kind of adversity as opposed to, say, relationship adversity or challenges maybe in a work environment or something like that?
Well, so the self-imposed stuff, I think it's generally going to be, I think it originates on, there's some void or emptiness or some source of pain initially, where I'm going to go put myself in these really challenging situations. I'm going to try and push my limits to discover more about what's going on within me. There's kind of a part that could like love the pain initially of that. I think we've talked about that. It's this curiosity of, I know if I go do this really difficult thing, my mind might unlock that place that I need to learn about. Because as I'm pushing against these barriers, especially endurance sports, like there is this kind of place where the mind goes a little bit dark, and that we gain like a lot of insights there. We gain, this is, I'm pushing my limits so much that I don't have the energy to suppress it anymore. It starts to creep up to the surface when I might not be able to access it any other way. My thing there is, yeah, we always want to be listening. And if something's like being generated from within, that had to come from some place. These are all internal things. Our mind suppresses and represses a lot that we might not be fully conscious of. And the willingness to dive into painful situations, might be a self-discovery exercise. My challenge there is it's like, yeah, let's do that. Let's get the knowledge. Let's get the understanding. Let's work on it. And then we can start to do it from more of a clean place of like, I'm doing this because I might have some purpose attached to it, or I enjoy it. Because the pain, if we're not properly transforming that pain, if we're always just motivated by that, eventually that's going to hit a place of burnout, because it's not sustainable. And generally the body might start to lock up. If I start to hit on in some intense fears that are stored within me, there might be a point where my body's like really fighting against it. So we've talked about this before, we need that reflective mode happening, because if I'm pushing, that's the more that fight or flight. I'm not getting the level of access I can if I'm going like kind of deeper in reflection. You talked this week about you had an experience with like a hypnotist, right? Uh,
Yeah, I did.
and that's going like deeper into, okay, so I'm pushing the boundaries, it's activating these things, and then I can settle back in a calm, peaceful, supportive environment. And hopefully I get some insights into what's going on there so I can actually heal it. And healing is going to be able to it's going to be shifting our mind about what's going on underneath it, all that stuff. So how do I find peace with this thing that maybe has been like unconsciously driving me for a very long time? When we talk about relationship, things like that, I view relationship as it's a mirror for us to experience ourselves as well. So generally if you have people that are they're attracted to each other, that's because this person's going to bring out our wounds that we need to resolve in order to love ourselves.